The research vessel, Celestial Horizon, descended slowly onto the surface of a barren moon orbiting a distant gas giant. The moon was cold, its rocky terrain bathed in the dim light of a faraway sun. The air outside was unbreathable, and the temperature was far below freezing. But none of that mattered to the crew on board. They were here for one reason: strange energy readings detected beneath the surface. Olivia Carter adjusted her helmet as she stepped off the ramp of the ship. She was part of a small team of scientists sent to investigate. Her specialty was biology, and she had spent years studying alien ecosystems, though nothing quite like this. Beside her, Ryan Matthews checked his scanner, his face tense behind the visor of his suit. He wasn't thrilled about being here, but then again, none of them were exactly relaxed. Exploring unknown worlds always carried risks. "Stay close," Captain Laura Bennett said over the comms. "We don't know what's down there." The team moved cautiously across the uneven ground, their boots crunching against loose rocks. The scanners led them to a jagged opening in the side of a hill, a cave entrance. Inside, the darkness was absolute until they switched on their helmet lights. The beams revealed smooth walls and a narrow tunnel that sloped downward. "This place feels wrong," Ryan muttered. His voice carried unease even through the static of the comms. Olivia didn't respond. She was too focused on the task ahead. Something about this place tugged at her curiosity, like a puzzle waiting to be solved. As they ventured deeper, the tunnel opened into a large cavern. Their lights illuminated the space, revealing a breathtaking sight. The walls sparkled with veins of glowing minerals casting faint otherworldly colors across the chamber. In the center of the room lay something massive and still. It took Olivia a moment to process what she was seeing. The creature was enormous, easily 7 feet tall, and covered in sharp, crystalline spines that shimmered like glass. Its body was sleek and segmented, with long limbs folded neatly against its sides. It looked almost insect-like, but there was something graceful about it too. Its skin, or whatever passed for skin, was pale and translucent, giving it an ethereal quality. Most of the team froze, their instincts screaming at them to back away. But Olivia didn't hesitate. She took a step forward, her eyes locked on the creature. It wasn't moving, but she could see faint signs of life, shallow breaths, subtle twitches. She glanced at Ryan, who was shaking his head. "What are you doing?" he asked sharply. "We don't know if it's dangerous." "It's injured," Olivia replied simply. Her voice was calm, steady. She knelt beside the creature, ignoring the protests from her teammates. Up close, she could see the damage more clearly. There were gashes along its torso, some of them deep enough to expose what looked like internal structures. The wounds were raw and angry, oozing a strange silvery fluid. Ryan grabbed her arm, pulling her back. "Are you crazy? It could wake up and kill us all." "She's right," Captain Bennett said, stepping forward. "If it's hurt, we can't just leave it here. Let her check it." Olivia nodded her thanks and turned back to the creature. She reached out slowly, her gloved hand hovering near one of its spines. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the spine pulsed faintly, glowing brighter under her touch. The reaction startled her, but she didn't pull away. Instead, she placed her hand gently on the spine, feeling a faint warmth radiating from it. The creature stirred slightly, emitting a low hum that vibrated through the air. Everyone tensed, ready to bolt if it attacked, but instead of lashing out, the creature tilted its head ever so slightly as if studying them. Its movements were deliberate, almost curious. "It's not threatening us," Olivia said softly. "I think it knows we're trying to help." Ryan scoffed. "Help? We don't even know what it is." "That's why we're here," Olivia shot back. She kept her focus on the creature, her heart pounding but her mind clear. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't like anything humanity had encountered before, and despite its intimidating appearance, she couldn't shake the feeling that it was more intelligent than it seemed. Captain Bennett gave the order to set up a temporary containment area nearby, where they could bring the creature for further study. Moving it was no easy task. It was heavy and its spines made handling it tricky. but after some careful maneuvering, they managed to secure it on a stretcher and carry it back to the ship. As they worked, Olivia found herself glancing at the creature repeatedly. There was something mesmerizing about it, something that defied explanation. She couldn't put her finger on it, but she knew one thing for certain. This discovery would change everything. Whether it was for better or worse, only time would tell. Back on the celestial horizon, the team worked quickly to set up a containment chamber for the alien creature. The chamber was designed to mimic the conditions of the moon's environment, with low gravity and controlled temperature. Once the creature, now nicknamed Silva by Olivia, was safely inside, the crew gathered in the observation room to discuss their next steps. Ryan Matthews was the first to speak. "We can't keep it here," he said firmly, pacing back and forth. "It's too dangerous. We don't know what it's capable of." Olivia Carter crossed her arms, her expression calm but resolute. "Dangerous? It hasn't shown any signs of aggression. If anything, it seems curious about us." "That's exactly the problem," Ryan shot back. "Curiosity doesn't mean it's harmless. For all we know, it could be studying us right now, figuring out how to escape or attack." Captain Laura Bennett raised a hand to silence them. "Both of you have valid points, but we can't make decisions based on fear or assumptions." "Olivia, you've spent the most time with it. What do you think?" Olivia hesitated before answering. She didn't want to downplay the risks, but she also couldn't ignore what she'd observed. "I think it's intelligent," she said finally. "Its reactions aren't random, they're deliberate. When I touched its spine, it responded in a way that felt calculated, like it was testing me." Ryan rolled his eyes. "Great. So now we're dealing with an alien genius, even better." Ignoring his sarcasm, Olivia continued. "Look, if it wanted to hurt us, it could have done so already. It's injured, remember? Whatever attacked it might still be out there. Leaving it behind isn't just cruel, it's reckless. We need to help it recover." The captain nodded thoughtfully. "Then we'll proceed cautiously. Olivia, you'll monitor it closely. If anything changes, if it shows even the slightest hint of hostility, we'll reassess." Over the next few days, Olivia spent nearly every waking moment observing Silva. She brought a small stool into the observation room and sat quietly, watching the alien's movements. At first, Silva remained mostly still, its spines glowing faintly as it rested. But as time passed, it began to stir more frequently, extending its limbs and tilting its head toward the glass walls of the chamber. One afternoon, while jotting notes on her tablet, Olivia noticed something unusual. Silva's spines were pulsing, rhythmically, almost like they were responding to her voice. She had been talking softly about Earth's oceans, describing the way sunlight danced on the water's surface. Intrigued, she leaned closer. "Do you like hearing about Earth?" she asked gently. "It's beautiful there. The colors are soft and the air's warm. You'd probably enjoy it." To her surprise, Silva extended one of its spindly arms toward her, its spines glowing brighter than ever. Olivia hesitated, then placed her gloved hand against the glass. The moment their connection was made, a rush of sensations flooded her mind. It wasn't pain or discomfort, more like a wave of images and emotions. She saw flashes of stars swirling in vast galaxies, underwater worlds teeming with bioluminescent life, and endless stretches of barren landscapes. Her breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just communication, it was trust. Silva wasn't trying to harm her. It was sharing its experiences. When the vision faded, Olivia pulled her hand away, her heart racing. She turned to find Captain Bennett standing in the doorway, watching intently. "What happened?" the captain asked. I think it tried to show me something," Olivia stammered. "Like memories or impressions. It's hard to explain." Bennett frowned. "Are you saying it's telepathic?" "I don't know," Olivia admitted, "but it's definitely smarter than we thought. Smarter than anything we've encountered before." Word of the incident spread quickly among the crew, sparking heated debates. Some, like Ryan, argued that Silva's intelligence made it even more dangerous. If it can manipulate our minds, who knows what else it's capable of, he warned during a meeting. We should cut our losses and leave it behind. Others, however, were fascinated. This could be the discovery of a lifetime, said Dr. Emily Ross, the ship's linguist. An opportunity to learn from another species, to understand how they think, how they live. Despite the disagreements, the decision was ultimately left to Captain Bennett. After weighing the risks and benefits, she decided to allow Olivia to continue her work with Silva, but under strict supervision. Any signs of aggression would result in immediate action to protect the crew. As the days turned into weeks, Olivia's bond with Silva grew stronger. She learned to interpret its nonverbal cues, noticing patterns in the way its spines reacted to different stimuli. Loud noises caused them to dim, while calm voices made them glow brighter. She also discovered that Silva seemed to respond positively to music, particularly soft melodies played through the chamber's speakers. One evening, while playing a recording of classical piano, Olivia noticed Silva shifting closer to the glass. Encouraged, she began humming along with the tune. To her delight, the alien's spines pulsed in sync with the rhythm, creating a mesmerizing light show. "You really do like this, don't you?" Olivia whispered, smiling despite herself. "Maybe. You're not so different from us after all." But not everyone shared her optimism. Ryan grew increasingly suspicious of Olivia's growing attachment to Silva. He accused her of losing objectivity, claiming she was putting the mission and the crew at risk. His concerns reached a boiling point when he discovered that Olivia had been sneaking extra rations of nutrients into Silva's chamber, hoping to speed up its recovery. "This has gone far enough," Ryan snapped during a private conversation with Captain Bennett. "She's treating it like a pet instead of a potential threat. What happens when it decides to turn on us?" Bennett sighed, rubbing her temples. "I understand your concerns, Ryan. But Olivia's instincts have been right so far. Until Silva gives us a reason to fear it, I'm willing to trust her judgment." Ryan clenched his fist but didn't argue further. Still, his frustration simmered beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to boil over. Meanwhile, Silva's condition began to improve. Its wounds healed slowly but steadily, and its movements became more fluid. One day, as Olivia sat beside the chamber, Silva pressed its entire body against the glass, its spines glowing brighter than ever. It was as if it were reaching out, not just physically, but emotionally. Olivia placed her hand on the glass once more, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain. Silva wasn't just an alien creature. It was a being full of mystery and wonder, and she was determined to protect it no matter the cost. As Silva's health improved, the crew of the Celestial Horizon grew more divided. Ryan Matthews continued to voice his concerns, insisting that keeping the alien on board was a mistake. "It's only getting stronger," he argued during one heated meeting. "What happens when it decides it doesn't need us anymore? Are we just going to wait around until it breaks free and attacks?" Olivia Carter listened patiently, her expression calm but firm. "Silva hasn't shown any signs of aggression," she countered. "If anything, it's been trying to communicate with us. You're letting fear cloud your judgment." Ryan clenched his jaw but didn't respond. He wasn't the only one uneasy about the situation. Even Captain Laura Bennett seemed conflicted, torn between her duty to protect the crew and her curiosity about the alien. But for now, Olivia's arguments held sway. As long as Silva remained peaceful, they would continue studying it. Despite the tension among the crew, Olivia's bond with Silva deepened. She began spending even more time in the observation room, observing its behavior and experimenting with different forms of interaction. One day, while playing a recording of ocean waves, she noticed Silva tilting its head rhythmically, almost as if it were listening intently. Encouraged, she started describing Earth's oceans in detail, speaking softly about coral reefs, schools of fish, and the way sunlight filtered through the water. To her surprise, Silva responded by extending one of its spindly arms toward her, its spines glowing faintly. Olivia hesitated, then placed her gloved hand against the glass. The moment their connection was made, another wave of images flooded her mind. This time clearer than before. She saw vast underwater worlds filled with bioluminescent creatures, endless stretches of barren terrain, and swirling galaxies dotted with stars. When the vision faded, Olivia pulled her hand away, her heart racing. She turned to find Dr. Emily Ross standing in the doorway, watching curiously. "What did you see?" Emily asked. "I'm not sure," Olivia admitted. "It's like, memories or impressions. I think Silva is showing me its home, or at least parts of it." Emily frowned thoughtfully. "If it's sharing its experiences with you, that suggests a high level of intelligence, and possibly empathy. This isn't just an animal, it's a sentient being." The realization sent a shiver down Olivia's spine. She had suspected as much, but hearing it confirmed aloud made it feel more real. Silva wasn't just some strange creature. They were communicating on a level that transcended language. Over the next few days, Olivia focused on strengthening their connection. She brought recordings of different sounds, music, nature, human voices, and observed how Silva reacted. Some elicited no response, while others caused its spines to glow brightly or dim completely. Through trial and error, she began piecing together patterns in its behavior. One evening, while playing a soft melody on her tablet, Olivia noticed something unusual. Silva pressed itself closer to the glass, its spines pulsing rhythmically. Then, for the first time, it emitted a low hum that resonated through the chamber. The sound was melodic, almost musical, and seemed to harmonize with the recording. Olivia smiled, feeling a surge of excitement. "You're responding to the music," she said softly. "Do you like it?" Silva tilted its head slightly, its glowing spines flickering in response. It was as close to a nod as Olivia could hope for. But not everyone shared her enthusiasm. Ryan watched from the observation room, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. "This is ridiculous," he muttered under his breath. "She's treating it like a pet. We're supposed to be scientists, not zookeepers." His frustration reached a breaking point when he discovered that Olivia had been modifying the containment chamber without permission. She had removed part of the barrier, allowing her to interact with Silva more directly. When confronted, Olivia defended her actions, claiming it was necessary to build trust. "You're putting us all at risk," Ryan shouted during a heated argument. "What if it turns on you? What if it escapes?" "It won't," Olivia replied firmly. "I know what I'm doing." Captain Bennett intervened before the argument escalated further. "Enough," she said sharply. "We don't have time for this. Olivia, explain yourself." Taking a deep breath, Olivia laid out her reasoning. "Silva isn't dangerous. It's intelligent, and it's trying to communicate with us. Removing the barrier allows me to interact with it more effectively. So far, it's responded positively to every step I've taken." Bennett considered this for a moment before nodding, reluctantly. "Fine. But if anything changes, if it shows even the slightest hint of hostility, we're shutting this experiment down immediately." With the captain's reluctant approval, Olivia continued her work. Over time, she learned more about Silva's species. Through flashes of imagery and subtle cues, she pieced together fragments of its history. Silva belonged to a nomadic race, called the Valith, who traveled between planets using ancient star maps encoded in their biology. Their home world had been destroyed centuries ago by a cosmic cataclysm, forcing them to adapt to harsh environments wherever they went. Silva had been searching for a new refuge when it was attacked by another predatory species, leaving it stranded and wounded. Now it was seeking help, not just for itself but for its kind. The revelation weighed heavily on Olivia. She knew she couldn't abandon Silva, but convincing the rest of the crew wouldn't be easy. When she presented her findings during a team meeting, the reaction was mixed. Some, like Emily, were fascinated by the implications. Others, like Ryan, remained skeptical. "We can't trust it," Ryan insisted. "Even if it's telling the truth, helping it means risking our lives. Is that really worth it?" "Yes," Olivia said without hesitation. "If we turn our backs on it, we're no better than the predators that attacked it. We have a chance to do something meaningful here, to prove that humanity can be more than selfish and destructive. Her words struck a nerve, silencing the room. For the first time, Ryan didn't argue back. As the days passed, Silva's condition continued to improve. Its movements became more fluid, and its spines glowed steadily. But despite its recovery, it began exhibiting signs of distress. It paced restlessly within the chamber, its spines dimming and brightening erratically. Olivia realized it was suffering from isolation. Its kind thrived on social bonds and collective energy. Determined to help, Olivia approached Captain Bennett with a bold proposal. "We need to let Silva guide us off this moon," she said. "It knows the terrain better than we do. If we agree to take it with us, it might lead us safely away." Bennett raised an eyebrow. "And if it betrays us once we're gone?" Olivia hesitated, then made a decision she knew would change everything. "Then I'll stay behind. I'll ensure its recovery and make sure it doesn't pose a threat." The captain stared at her for a long moment before nodding slowly. "All right. But if this goes wrong, it's on you." Olivia nodded, her resolve unwavering. Whatever happened next, she was ready to face it, for Silva, and for the fragile thread of trust they had built together. The decision to leave the moon with Silva as their guide was met with mixed reactions from the crew. Ryan Matthews remained openly hostile, muttering under his breath about how reckless and dangerous the plan was. "We're gambling our lives. On a hunch," he said during one of the final briefings. "What if it turns on us the moment we're in deep space?" Olivia Carter ignored his complaints, focusing instead on preparing for the journey ahead. She spent hours talking to Silva, explaining their plans and trying to reassure it. Though she couldn't be certain if it fully understood her words, its glowing spine suggested it was listening, and perhaps even agreeing. Captain Laura Bennett oversaw the preparations, ensuring every detail was accounted for. The Celestial. Horizon wasn't designed for long-term travel with an alien passenger, so adjustments had to be made. Extra supplies were loaded onto shuttles, and the containment chamber was modified to allow Silva more freedom while still maintaining safety. Protocols. On the day of departure, tension hung thick in the air. The crew gathered near the ship's ramp, double-checking equipment and exchanging nervous glances. Olivia stood beside Silva, who loomed over her despite its weakened state. Its spines pulsed faintly, casting soft light across the rocky terrain. "Ready?" Captain Bennett asked, her voice steady but tinged with unease. Olivia nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." With that, the team began boarding the shuttles. One by one, they climbed inside, leaving Olivia and Silva standing alone on the barren surface. As the engines roared to life, Ryan cast a final glance at Olivia through the shuttle window. His expression was unreadable, part frustration, part reluctant admiration. When the last shuttle lifted off, kicking up clouds of dust, Olivia turned to face Silva. For a moment, neither moved. Then slowly, Silva extended one of its spindly arms toward her. Its spines brightened, pulsing rhythmically, a gesture Olivia had come to recognize as trust. "Led the way," she whispered, her voice barely audible beneath the hum of the departing shuttles. Silva tilted its head slightly, then began moving across the moon's surface with surprising speed. Despite its size, it moved gracefully, its segmented limbs propelling it forward in smooth strides. Olivia followed closely, her boots crunching against the loose rocks. They traveled for what felt like hours, the landscape growing more rugged and treacherous with each step. Eventually, Silva stopped at the edge of a massive crater. It turned to face Olivia, its glowing spines flickering as if signaling something important. Olivia approached cautiously, peering into the darkness below. At first, she saw nothing but shadows. Then, as her helmet lights illuminated the area, she gasped. Hidden within the crater was a network of tunnels leading deep underground. The walls shimmered with veins of glowing minerals, creating an eerie yet beautiful scene. Silva gestured toward the entrance, its movements deliberate. "You want me to go down there?" Olivia asked, speaking aloud despite knowing Silva couldn't understand her exact words. In response, Silva pressed closer to her, its spines glowing brighter than ever. Olivia hesitated, then nodded. All right, let's do this. She activated her suit's tether system and began descending into the crater, Silva following close behind. The descent was slow and nerve-wracking, but eventually they reached the bottom. The tunnel stretched out before them, twisting and turning like veins in a living organism. As they ventured deeper, Olivia noticed subtle changes in the environment. The air grew warmer, and the mineral deposits became denser, casting a soft glow that illuminated their path. Strange sounds echoed through the tunnels, low hums and distant clicks that sent shivers down her spine. After what felt like miles of walking, they emerged into a vast chamber unlike anything Olivia had ever seen. The walls were lined with bioluminescent plants, their tendrils swaying gently as if alive. Pools of liquid crystal dotted the floor, reflecting the light in dazzling patterns. In the center of the room stood a cluster of tall, crystalline structures that pulsed faintly, almost like hearts. Silva moved toward the crystals, its spines glowing in sync with their rhythm. Olivia watched in awe as the alien touched one of the structures, causing it to emit a low melodic hum. The sound resonated through the chamber, vibrating in her chest. "What is this place?" Olivia murmured, her voice filled with wonder. Though Silva didn't respond directly, its actions spoke volumes. It seemed to be showing her something vital, perhaps a key to understanding its species or even its purpose on this moon. Olivia took a step closer, reaching out tentatively toward one of the smaller crystals. When her gloved hand brushed against its surface, another wave of images flooded her mind. This time, the visions were clearer than ever. She saw glimpses of the Valith's nomadic existence, journeys between planets, encounters with other species, and moments of both triumph and loss. She saw their star maps, intricate designs woven into the fabric of their biology. And most importantly, she saw their longing for connection, not just with each other, but with others like humanity. When the vision faded, Olivia pulled her hand away, her heart pounding. She turned to Silva, tears welling in her eyes. "I understand now," she said softly. "You're not just looking for a new home. You're looking for allies. Friends." Silva tilted its head slightly, its glowing spines flickering in response. It was as close to a smile as Olivia could imagine. Over the next several days, Olivia explored the chamber alongside Silva, learning more about its culture and history. She discovered that the crystals served as repositories of knowledge, storing memories and experiences that could be shared with others. With Silva's guidance, she began experimenting with ways to interact with the crystals herself, hoping to preserve some of the information for humanity. But her time with Silva came at a cost. During one session, Silva accidentally brushed its spines against Olivia's exposed wrist, injecting her with a foreign enzyme. At first, she felt no immediate harm, just a strange warmth spreading through her arm. But as hours passed, she began experiencing unusual sensations. Her thoughts became sharper, her senses heightened. Most startling of all, she found herself able to sense Silva's presence without physical contact, almost as if they were connected on a deeper level. Ryan's warnings echoed in her mind, but Olivia pushed them aside. Whatever was happening to her, she knew it wasn't malicious. It felt more like evolution, like she was becoming something greater. When the rest of the crew returned weeks later to check on her progress, they found Olivia standing beside Silva, her posture relaxed and confident. She explained everything she had learned, sharing her discoveries about the Valith and their potential role in bridging gaps between species. Ryan listened silently, his skepticism fading as Olivia spoke. Even he couldn't deny the significance of what she had uncovered, or the bond she had formed with Silva. In the end, the crew agreed to leave Olivia behind. They promised to relay her findings to Earth, ensuring that humanity would know about the Valith and their message of unity. As the celestial horizon departed, Olivia waved goodbye, her heart heavy but resolute. Now, standing in the glowing chamber with Silva by her side, Olivia smiled. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing for certain. She had found her place in the universe, and together she and Silva would continue exploring the mysteries of the stars. Months passed, and Olivia Carter adapted to her new life alongside Silva. The glowing chamber beneath the moon's surface became her home, its bioluminescent plants and crystal structures providing both light and comfort. She spent her days exploring the tunnels and studying the alien artifacts, piecing together fragments of the Valith's history. With each discovery, her understanding of their culture deepened, and so did her bond with Silva. The changes in Olivia were subtle. At first, her senses grew sharper, allowing her to detect faint sounds and movements that would have gone unnoticed before. She could feel Silva's presence even when it wasn't near, a kind of awareness that defied explanation. At times, she caught glimpses of fleeting images in her mind, flashes of distant stars and unfamiliar landscapes. It was as if Silva's memories were merging with her own, creating a shared consciousness. Despite these strange developments, Olivia felt no fear. Instead, she embraced them, seeing them as proof of the connection she and Silva had forged. Together, they continued unraveling the secrets of the chamber, learning how the crystals stored knowledge and communicated emotions. Each session brought new revelations not just about the Valith but about the universe itself. One evening, as they stood beside a cluster of pulsating crystals, Silva extended one of its spindly arms toward Olivia. Its spines glowed brightly, casting a warm light across the chamber. Olivia hesitated for only a moment before placing her hand on the crystal Silva indicated. Instantly, another wave of images flooded her mind, this time more vivid than ever. She saw the Valith traveling between planets, their massive ships powered by energy harvested from stars. She witnessed their encounters with other species, some friendly, others hostile, and she saw glimpses of Earth, a blue-green orb floating in the vastness of space. The Valith had observed humanity from afar, intrigued by their creativity and resilience, but wary of their destructive tendencies. When the vision faded, Olivia pulled her hand away, her heart racing. "You've been watching us," she said softly, turning to face Silva. "For how long?" Silva tilted its head slightly, its glowing spines flickering in response. It wasn't an answer in words, but Olivia understood. The Valith had been aware of humanity for centuries, waiting for the right moment to make contact. Over the next few weeks, Olivia focused on deciphering the star maps encoded within the crystals. These maps were intricate designs, glowing patterns, etched into the surface of the stones. With Silva's guidance, she began tracing the routes, noting coordinates and landmarks. Each map told a story, a journey through uncharted regions of space, leading to worlds rich in resources or potential allies. As she worked, Olivia couldn't help but think about Earth. She wondered how humanity would react to the knowledge she had uncovered. Would they see it as an opportunity for growth and cooperation? Or would fear and greed lead them to exploit the Valith's technology for their own gain? Her thoughts were interrupted one day when Silva suddenly became agitated. Its spines dimmed and brightened erratically, and it moved restlessly around the chamber. Olivia approached cautiously, speaking in a calm voice. "What's wrong?" Silva stopped pacing and turned to face her, its glowing spines flickering urgently. Then, without warning, it pressed its entire body against the wall of the chamber, its spines pulsing rhythmically. Olivia placed her hand on the wall, feeling a surge of energy course through her. Images flooded her mind once again, this time showing a fleet of ships approaching the moon. "They're coming," Olivia whispered, her heart pounding. She didn't know who they were, but the sense of urgency in Silva's reaction was unmistakable. The crew of the Celestial Horizon arrived sooner than expected. Their shuttles descended onto the moon's surface, kicking up clouds of dust as they landed. Captain Laura Bennett led the team, her expression grim. "We received your transmissions," she said as Olivia greeted them. "But there's something you need to know." Olivia listened intently as Bennett explained the situation. A rival faction of explorers had intercepted their reports about the Valith and was en route to the moon, intent on seizing control of the alien artifacts. They were heavily armed and unwilling to negotiate. "We don't have much time," Bennett warned. "If we leave now, we can avoid a confrontation, but staying here means risking everything." Olivia glanced at Silva, whose spines glowed steadily. She knew what she had to do. "I'm staying," she said firmly. "This is my home now. If they want to take it, they'll have to go through me." Bennett hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. "All right. But if things get bad, send a signal. We'll do what we can to help." As the shuttles departed, leaving Olivia and Silva alone once again, a sense of calm settled over her. She wasn't afraid, not anymore. Whatever happened next, she was ready to face it. In the days that followed, Olivia prepared for the inevitable. She fortified the entrance to the chamber, using tools left behind by the crew to create barriers and traps. Silva assisted her, its strength and agility proving invaluable. Together, they transformed the chamber into a fortress, determined to protect its secrets. When the rival faction finally arrived, their intentions were clear. Armed soldiers stormed the tunnels, their weapons drawn. But they underestimated both Olivia and Silva. Using their combined knowledge of the terrain and the chamber's defenses, they managed to hold their ground. The battle was intense, but short-lived. Realizing they were outmatched, the intruders retreated, vowing to return with greater force. Olivia knew this was only the beginning, but she also knew she wouldn't face it alone. Years later, rumors spread among explorers of a figure resembling Olivia, traveling alongside a towering, spiny companion across various moons and planets. Some claimed to have seen them guiding lost ships through dangerous regions of space, while others spoke of their role in forging alliances between warring factions. Though never confirmed, many believed Olivia had become the first human ambassador to another sentient species, a bridge between two worlds. And somewhere out there amid the stars, Olivia smiled, knowing she had found her purpose.